Okay, so this little video will be on really just the table schema that we have. I'll show it to you through the web map, and I'll also show it to you through the web app, I'm thinking. So at this point, the table, as you want to investigate this information, you can open up the table and you can use the scroll wheel to pan through. I don't know why it's not working. There we go. I had to catch up. So that shows me all the fields. It's one way to do it. If I want to turn fields on and off, I can click this little button. I can turn them all on and off. If I want to investigate them, I can either do that through the drop down here by clicking this little little chevron or little down arrow or whatever it is, little triangle, or I click this little plus button. Another way to do it is I can just click on a point. Hopefully. So like I said before, if I want to edit this feature, I come down here and I click edit. But without editing it, I can select this information, right? So this is just in view mode. Probably should turn off the 1000 separator. I'm thinking. So these are little things that I would have if you guys were to see and say, wait a minute, can we turn that off? I don't permit value, that makes sense because it's maybe 388,000 for that point. But this permit number, that's probably does not make sense. Okay, let's think. So I'm gonna go ahead and edit this because really that's what I'm looking at. So this is my the problem with this. I think the way web maps work is I can kind of turn off. I'll have to look at it further, but I think I can either turn off 1000 separator for everything or turn them on for everything. I don't think I can itemize it out. It's kind of a limit. So in each of these fields, these are your fields. This is just a straight text box. This one has a little down arrow. If I click on it, it's a date picker. This one doesn't have anything. These ones actually have your specific components that make up the permit type, right? So we define these as a dropdown because it's easier in the field and doesn't have, if there's a set amount of values per field, like a yes and no makes sense, or like use code could potentially be used. PUI might be a little long because there's like 3,000 different types, but something that has a defined limit of values that go in it, it makes sense to create this concept called a domain. And these domains act in the field as just like little drop downs. It's easier to click a drop down when you're in the field than to turn around and actually do to type it in. I mean, we do have a lot of fields you have to type in, but I would also almost think that maybe a level of shorthand that might will make sense for when we get to the comments down below. Also, we have division. I've actually added division back in. This data is your permit approach data. So I just spatially enable your permit approach data, and then whatever fields that I thought at the time for demo purposes that made sense. Plus I had Eric Carhu review it at first. We can always go back to every other field though. If you want NCS in there, which I don't think NCS is in there now, we can load date, whatever you guys had as part of the underlying table. It's still there. I'm kind of hiding it at this point. I've actually built almost like a master filter on there where I can't change it now at the online level, but the underlying data does have all that information. And so I also have office in here. Status type, this is where you would see in the field whether you want a percent in here or a non-percent. Right now I have the tables defined both ways. It's really up to you guys what you guys think works best. Patio cover for general status. If you guys want to call this something else, maybe we want to call it permit type, but we also already have permit type up here, so whatever makes sense for that. Originally I had called it item type, but then it might be called construction item, construction status perhaps, or something like that. General status, whatever. All this naming convention is completely changeable. Percent complete, obviously, is just a straight text. It's 65% complete for like total complete. And then when it is 100%, you would just mark it as yes, no, or we have PC. This is how we symbolize. Purpose is just a way I can just put stuff. I can generally, this is from the pink slip. I can put permit in there. Purpose in there. Visit date is another date field, date picker. And if you needed to have additional date fields, it might be first visit, second visit, third visit, fourth visit. Appraiser number is straight appraiser number. Comments is this is 200 characters, but if we need more, we can always expand it. It was 100, now it's 200. And so that's kind of kind of an overview of how you access the table inside of the web map, and you're gonna get an idea of the schema. I'm gonna go ahead and close that out, and now I'm gonna go back to, let me turn that off. I'm gonna go back to the groups, and I'm gonna show the same table within the web app. Think of the web map as the data that collector is a field application. You can download it today from the Android store. You can download it today from the Apple App Store. You can run it on your phone if you want to play around with this. Anybody who's in that group who can see the web map, you can connect to the web map using collector today if you want to play around with this. Until we get iPads, right now, if you want to play with it on your phone, you can just go out there, download the application. It's a free application, and you can start playing around with it. iPads obviously gives you a little bit more screen real estate. Let me go back to permits. I'm going to just click on here. That should take me right into the application. When we clicked the other link, it gave me the ability to go to edit or view because I was going to the properties layer. Now I'm actually going into the application directly. So that's interesting. Okay, yeah, there you go. So similar capability you get with the web map. With the web app, I get really the same look and feel of that point, but I have to click this little ellipsis to come in and go to edit mode. And then the edit mode, I get that same look and feel. I got those little drop downs that show me the domain. I got, doesn't look like I've turned some fields off basically that I don't want you guys editing. Like I don't want you editing APN. But we can always add, if it turns out that, hey, you guys find there's a lot of mismatch on APNs, perhaps we add another field, new APN or mismatch APN or something like that. That might be, think about that. So we can have original APN and then we can have mismatch APN, something we deal with within BPP. And then now you get a nice little icon for your date picker. Other than that, it looks very similar. So let me go ahead and click close. That would be one way to get to it. The other way to go into it would be to go to edit mode. And if I go into edit mode, then I just click on something. And after I click on it, then it decides to pop up. And then this would be another way to get access to the table, is to go into edit mode. But I'm going to go ahead and close that out, and then I'm going to close this out. When I close this out, I'm no longer in edit mode. So now when I click on it, it's just a regular pop-up. But I can get to the edits from the pop-up, or I can go to edit mode to go right in that way as well. So those are two ways to get access to the data, to look at the schema, both from a web app, a web map. We can also, like I think I mentioned this before, we can also change this UI around if you want, and kind of demonstrate that to you if need be. But that's it for now. Hope you enjoy the videos.